Good evening. My name is Terry Alford, and welcome to Our Story. Our Story is our way to keep you all informed, featuring guests, unknown facts, treasure stories, and themes that provide insight into the historic Michigan Street African American Heritage Corridor, as well as the east side of Buffalo. Our story airs at this time every Thursday evening right here on Waffle Radio Power 96.5 FM. Um, Tonight we're going to do something a little special, something that hopefully I'm going to make a habit, once or twice each month as we do our show, and that's to really recognize African American owned businesses in our city, especially those on the east side of Buffalo. That's very important. When we celebrate the contribution of black business owners and entrepreneurs, it pays homage to them and their legacies, especially since celebrating them recognizes the importance of black-owned businesses when it comes to contributing to the nation's economy as well. Approximately 10% of all American businesses are black-owned. And if we look at what statistics say about minority-owned businesses, about 30% of these would belong to black business owners. The primary sectors in which black-owned businesses operate include healthcare, social work, repair and maintenance, beauty salons, restaurants, and more. Black businesses across the country are booming and on the rise, with Washington, D.C. having the highest ratio of black-owned businesses, a whopping 28%. These businesses also have an important role to play towards supporting student education by giving funds towards scholarships to African American students primarily. So with that said, that's short blurb. I'm happy to introduce our guest tonight, Melvin, founder, CEO, and president of Lockdown Security. Welcome on the show, Kevin.
Thank you, Terry. It's a pleasure being here.
Good to have you. So, as we always do, Kevin, we always invite our guests to briefly share a little bit of information about them, about their life, about their interests. Who are you, Kevin?
So my name is Kevin. Obviously, I own Lockdown Security. We're a security company. We provide everything from residential to corporate to event, club security, personal security. We try to stay as versatile as possible to be able to service people's needs. I myself, I'm a father of wonderful children. My son is 15. My daughter is 6, and I have one daughter that's in heaven. Um, this probably by far my favorite thing is being a father, and to being able to shape them into being outstanding citizens one day in the world.
I'm happy to say too that Kevin and his security services that he provides, his security officers, ultimate professionals, but more importantly, very much caring and very compassionate and really very professional in how they approach people, how they engage other people, especially people that others might view as kind of like being underneath them. So Kevin and Lockdown has been our security agency for the last year and a half, close to 2 years now, and we've been very happy. Our four anchors, the Michigan Street Baptist Church, the Reverend Nash House and Museum, Color Musicians Club and Jazz Museum, and of course Waffle Radio. Um, the volunteers and their staff, along with my commissioner and our staff, have nothing but great things to say about Lockdown. I'm not here to give them a plug. You don't need it. I know it won't hurt, but I can just say that we thank Kevin and his officers for all the things that they've been doing the last 2 years at our events, as well as the mundane day-to-day, making sure that we're all okay and our properties are safe and sound and well protected. So thank you, Kevin, for that.
No problem. It's a pleasure.
So, Kevin, how long has Lockdown been around? How long has your security business been in Buffalo?
So we just celebrated our 6-year anniversary this past April. So
Congratulations.
it'll be 6 years that we've been in business.
So, what's your agency's mission, the goals? What was the inspiration of why you started the company?
I myself, I've worked in contract security for a very long time, different phases of it, from being a security guard to management to operations, and I just wanted people to get more for what they were paying for. I wanted to have a system that was tailored to people's needs and not just the same system for everyone. Because as you know, everyone has different needs of what they need for their business or protection. I also want to change the narrative. I wanted people to feel comfortable with being protected again.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I think sometimes that's in question, and people have a hard time trusting, people that are put into those positions. But from our standpoint, I wanted people to be around us, feel comfortable, and actually be able to have a good time without, hoping that, you know, the people in those positions were on point.
Mm-hmm. So you've been doing this before you own your business. You were doing this on your own in terms of security in and around the city.
Yes, absolutely. I'm not gonna disclose my current age now, but I've been doing this since I was 18. I started out just in clubs. First club I was in was in Sensations, and it's funny because I was in there for a college party, and a fight broke out, and I don't know why. I didn't know either party in the fight, but I helped break it up, and the head bouncer ended up hiring me on
Uh,
the spot, and
on the spot.
on the
So
spot,
you were just
yeah.
like, okay.
So I started the next night, and I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew that it was good to make some money and be out in the scene. Um, I transferred that over a couple years later. I started working for a contract security company. Within a year, I became a site supervisor. Another 6 months after that, I became an operations manager. Um, that turned into me being a regional director of security for a big corporation. Um, and then after that was lockdown security.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's one of those things where I was put into a position where um, I wanted to do more.
Yeah.
I wanted to control more. I wanted to help people out more. And sometimes you can't do that when you're underneath
Yeah.
a direction of someone else's.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because a lot of people, when they say they start businesses and things, it's namely because of what inspires them. Of course, it's always the generational wealth. They understand that, want to leave something to their kids, right? Legacies, if you will. But as what you always hear is, I want to be my own boss, my own person. I want to be able to be self-determining, if you will. Is that some of the reasons why you really wanted to do this?
Absolutely, a big reason was definitely the generational wealth aspect. As I said, I have young children, and
Mm-hmm.
as you see, the economy's getting tougher and tougher. Um, the
Yeah.
you know the middle class almost doesn't exist anymore. People making 100,000 are struggling.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't want my kids coming into that struggle. I want them to have a head start,
Mm-hmm.
like other people have,
Right.
and that way they don't have to struggle like we did when we were kids, and
Mm-hmm.
had to find their own way. I want to have a system built for them already to come in and inherit and do well with.
Yeah, that's so vitally important. It's interesting that we had that pandemic at the height of the pandemic. I remember reading as we were getting close to getting out of it, right? The number of businesses across the country that started up, in particular, black-owned businesses, believe it or not, across the country, there was a major uptick of folks who were sitting at home, and some were like, of course, you had a very much dependent on a weekly check, which was now being affected because they couldn't physically go to work. So that check was kind of like being compromised, right? So they, at that point, made decisions to start a business. If it was a home-based business to services, or at least getting those things ready so that when the pandemic ended, they can hit the ground running. And I remember reading that was the biggest number of black-owned businesses that went online that submitted, DBAs, doing business as with their respective states. That was the largest infusion of new businesses that was started up, namely by black folks, since the mid 1960s, which is amazing to me. I always tell folks when I go out and do presentations, or I'm asked to speak, and talk about history and things. I always say that, business is in our blood. It's in our DNA. I mean, African Americans, and I'm unapologetic in saying this, you know, um, we're the only man or woman in terms of civilization on this planet. And as such, we invented a number of different things, which included metric systems, which included business systems that still today people are utilizing. Some of the greatest, wealthiest people in the world in those early eons were African or African specific individuals, right? So I always tell folks it's in your DNA. And so don't be afraid to start a business. If you have a plan and a vision and things, you get informed, you do the homework that you need to do. You get a good business plan together. You work with experts that can provide, pertinent information to help you. You talk to those folks, including friends and family, that might want to even invest in you and your dream or your vision, right? So I don't want to make it about what I'm talking about, but Kevin, is these some of the things that sound familiar to you?
No, absolutely, absolutely. I tell people all the time, even another thing too is that we do is that I try to build people up.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, most people that work as a security guard is not going to be a career thing.
Right.
So I tell them, let me know what your goals are. I might know some people that can help you out. I even had a guard before say, hey, I want to open my own security company.
There you go.
No, absolutely. I'll show you how to do it. And some people are like, you're crazy for giving someone. No, I'll say, because what I'm doing, I'll say, I'm creating a friend, right? I say, we're going to work together, and our main goal is to keep people safe. So why not? Why wouldn't I want as many people as possible to do that the correct way? And if I can influence someone to do that and do it the right way, absolutely. I can't do it all, you know. So I'm definitely agree with you. I think more people should open businesses. We have very talented people in Buffalo, very talented. I think sometimes with just a day to day and trying to grind to get by because we're so behind in everything that people downplay themselves. They think that I can't do this. I got this bill and that bill to do. I can't invest in a business, but little by little, you know,
Right.
get a little extra money, buy some of your supplies.
Yeah.
Next thing, get a little extra money, go downtown, do your DBA. That's only a couple of dollars. Just start somewhere where it motivates you each time you make a move to continue your dream. Just don't sit on it because then 15 years are gonna pass by and you're like, man, I wish I did that 15 years ago.
Those years go by fast too, especially as you get older. They fly
Absolutely.
by, right? So, Kevin, what were some of the challenges early on that you faced when you started thinking about starting your business?
Um, so becoming more business minded. So I had always been a manager. Like I said, I was a director, and those are simply just managing and the day to day, of what someone else's business. But then when you become that person, it's so much more. Your EIN. Finding out how
Wait,
to
but
get
what's an
color.
EIN?
So EIN is your tax number that they assign to you, and that's important because once you start writing invoices and you start paying taxes, you want that under that and not your own personal social security number.
Right.
You want to separate yourself from your business. And my very first year, I was under my own social security number.
Right.
I talked to someone like, no, you got to get an EIN, my guy. And even like loans or grants. You got to have these things. To get started and do it the right way. I tell people all the time, it's easy to, say, okay, I'm a security company, and then start making money and routine cash here and there, but it catches up to you, believe me.
Right.
Do it right from the jump. And again, if you're doing it for generational wealth, you're not creating generational wealth by just collecting cash from people.
Yeah,
You
I'll say
gotta
that
have
again.
this stuff on paper.
That's right.
It has to be done right. And luckily, I was able to do that at a very early stage in my business. But it's not easy. I tell people they don't see the day to day. Like it's just me.
Right.
I don't have office staff, so I'm HR, payroll, everything. Recruitment, everything, scouting, everything is me. And I just gotta find time to do those things. But I have to. Like I keep myself motivated because people depend on me to pay their bills.
Right.
They depend on me to feed their families. So I have no slack. I cannot get up and say, "Oh, I'm not going to do this today." No, I have to do this today because the people depend on me to do that. I can't come in one day and be like, "Hey, you guys don't have jobs anymore because I didn't do what I was supposed to do." Absolutely, that's not even an option. So um,
That's really interesting and very important to say because when people look at successful business people, businessmen and businesswomen, they always think that they appear up high, and that everything's together, everything is working out, and and uh, and that they're heartless in some cases too. There's this stereotype or this mythology. They don't really care, right? But what you just said is very important. Like, people are depending on me. Besides my family, on this business, other people are dependent on me to make sure the doors are open, contracts are secured. You just mentioned that you have to be not just the boss. You got to be the HR person. You got to be the receptionist. You got to be the media, communications person. You got to be the mediator when things go wrong. That's a lot of hats to wear with one individual. So, it also brings a lot of pressure too, right?
Absolutely. A lot of pressure. But with me, I was always that dogfight kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
I played a lot of sports, mainly football. We'd be out on the turf. It'd be 100 something degrees on there. We're doing 2 days, and I'd be that person that's sweating it out, digging it out because
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked to be uncomfortable. Even now when I train, people are like, "How you wearing a hoodie? It's so hot in here." I like being uncomfortable.
Right.
I love it. It brings out a different side of me. It brings out the dog in me. It makes me grind. So whenever things get kind of tough,
Mm-hmm.
I just dig my heels in. I'm like, you know what? I'm stronger than this. It's not gonna beat me. I'm gonna beat it. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to be. You have to have thick skin to be a business owner. And I've learned some hard lessons in this doing that.
Right.
From just this, you know, dealing with different, clients to, and then, sometimes you might not get paid,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
your employees still have to get paid, you
Right.
know. So that's another thing you got to think of. It's like, how are you going to create your overhead, you know?
Right.
Um, and it's funny because when people hear you own a business, they think you're rich,
Yeah.
you
See.
know. But if my payroll is 15 grand every week, for example, um, that money has to be in there, no
Right.
matter what. So even if every invoice doesn't pay, that money still has to be in there to pay people,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So that
And
doesn't
guess
mean
where that's coming from?
it's coming from that account.
Yeah, it's coming out.
And that's another thing people understand. Oh, you business, oh, you can buy this, you can buy that. No, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make sure money's right.
Yeah.
You got to make sure it's there.
Those things gotta be balanced. It's
Right.
easy to get in a hole quick, right?
Quick. And in 6 years, I've never had an employee not get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Never,
Mm-hmm.
ever. It's not something that's gonna happen.
Right.
Like you said, because they're dependent on me
Mm-hmm.
to pay their bills and do what they have to do.
So it's good for you to say that because as you say, you like being uncomfortable, and it's emblematic, symbolic of all those folks that come before us. I always take it back to history and heritage that we stand on the shoulders of so many before us who despite the challenges that we say we face today that are hard and complicated and tough, just think what they had to deal with back in those days: discrimination, escaping lynching. Okay,
Right.
uh, having successful businesses and then being run off your property and your businesses because you're trying to save your life and the life of your family, right? And they go somewhere else and they plop back and then they start all over again. That's tenacity, right? That's self determination. And what you can't be more American than that. We always say our story is an American story, in its truest sense because we face a lot of different hardships that are unique. It's not at all the same for every demographic in this country, right? Or even in this world. So the stuff we had to go through and still try to make it, redlining, dealing with the issues of being segregated in certain parts of a city when you move into it, not being able to get loans, okay, and that still applies today for many of us, right? Okay,
Absolutely.
so that's huge challenges. And I applaud business people like yourself who rise above all those challenges, right? What are some of the successes that you like to talk about? Either just broadly or specifically. It could be things that inspire you to say, "Oh, okay, this was a good day, and that's going to keep me going for another year." Right? What are some of those successes?
One of the biggest things is just being able to change someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've had employees be able to purchase their first car.
Right.
that's a big success, and also just seeing the growth of the company over the past 6 years.
Right.
Most companies don't start to show success until about 5 years. I think they said some like average like 5 6 years. So just seeing the things I know where I came from, where I'm at now, the different kind of clients I'm bringing on. We just actually registered and was accepted to do government bidding.
Yeah, that's great.
And that was major because
Right.
when I got the acceptance letter, I was just in awe. I was like, wow, that's a big move. So just those alone, just the simplicity
Mm-hmm.
of still being in business, um, growing,
Right.
and seeing my employees, enjoy the fruits of their labor. Um, that does it for me,
Mm-hmm.
right there. I don't have to be a millionaire. I don't have to be rolling in cash, but if I'm making a difference in people's lives, and then also just when people come across me and they say, "Hey, I feel safe when you're around. You're your team around." That feels great.
Right.
That's amazing to me. That's why I'm in the game. That's why I'm still doing it.
Right.
That's why I'm still
Right.
pushing. Um, that means I'm doing something right. And I give credit to God. It's what I was born to do. I'm one of the few people that was actually found out what it was that God wanted me to do. Because honestly, when I do it, I wouldn't say it's effortless, but it's natural.
Right.
It feels very natural when I'm operating and planning and doing what I need to do. So I mean, just those few things right there. That's right there, my greatest successes.
Right. So, what are some of the goals for your business in the future, Kevin?
Definitely remain growing. I would like to expand our personal security side of the business of executive security. Um, I would also like to open a couple offices in different states. I have a few that I've been looking at and talking to a couple people about. So that's something that might happen sooner than later. Um, and just like I said, continue to grow. I would love to see my kids take over one day.
Yeah.
That would be beautiful. I think anyone that's in business would love to see that. So that's something I'm definitely working on
It's
as
that
well.
legacy building right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
that's a big one.
Hmm. So those are all good. So I know we talked about brick and mortar and offices and things. So hopefully as we move, we can continue to work together, even in the corridor. Some of the things that in terms of our goals and objectives, our core values with the Michigan Street African American Heritage Corridor and our four anchors, is to see this corridor grow, not just in terms of broadening the interest and attraction around destination tourism, but more importantly, to really use this as a linchpin to stimulate business growth. In this corridor. This corridor represents 3.5 miles or so, and it connects to four historic neighborhoods. Coppertown and Willard Park. Fruit Belt, of course, Cold Springs. So, historically, those neighborhoods, historic neighborhoods, were chock full of very successful African American business people, okay, and the young people that followed them who took over those businesses were legacies in and of themselves. So we like to see that happening again, and I think you definitely represent that, Kevin. I can tell you, success starts at the top, and talking to even your guards and things, they totally respect what you do and things. So hopefully we can continue to have a really good relationship in the corridor with your company. Uh, my dream is to have your office here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to try to make that work. There's a couple of announcements I want to make while we still have some time before I give Kevin the last word. Just to put on your calendars and to look out for these things, these activities that are coming up later on in the month of October. Right now, we're planning a community day in the corridor that's going to be sponsored by the National Grid folks. Our National Grid friends have dedicated a beautiful mural on one of our newly acquired buildings here in our corridor. So we want to dedicate that mural on October the 24th, right here in the corridor from 10 a.m. to right through 2:30 p.m. Again, that's going to be sponsored by the National Grid. We're also going to use that day, to recognize other organizations on the east side of Buffalo, especially those that provide services and other community needs in our community, in those neighborhoods that definitely need it. We'll also be using that time to especially celebrate the quarter and the anchor's milestones, namely our first 5 years of capital improvement projects and programming and looking to really use that as a springboard to start thinking about our second phase, our next 5 years, if you will. And we're quite excited about all this because obviously we want the community to be involved every step of the way as we continue to grow and try to create a vibrant community that we can all be proud of. That we talked about generational wealth. We want to leave these great places and spaces and properties to our young people to take up the baton and carry it to the next 100, 200, 1,000 years, if you will. So look out for that Community Day of the Quarter, October the 24th. We'll be doing more promotion and challenge the criterion right here on Waffle Radio. So stay tuned for that. On October the 25th, which is the Friday, prior to Halloween, we'll be celebrating a Halloween party in the corridor. So Friday, October the 25th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Michigan Street corridor headquarters at 136 Broadway, which is right across the street from Waffle Radio Studios. We'll be encouraging young people and their parents to wear your best costume, come through for a prize, participate in some games, and more importantly, get some treats and enjoy some spooky fun. Again, that's Friday, October the 25th, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Halloween party in the corridor. Look out for that. And then also real quick, next Tuesday, October, we'll be facilitating our final farmers market right at 136 Broadway, corner of Broadway and Michigan. It'll be your last chance to come out and enjoy our farmers market, enjoy the food choices, the vegetables, the fruits. Utilize free coupons to get for opportunities to get free food. Talk and engage with our staff and other guests that'll be there. That'll be next Tuesday. So Kevin, our guest tonight is Kevin Melvin, President, CEO, founder of Lockdown Securities. So Kevin, I'm going to give you the last word. Is there anything that you might want to send out to the audience that's listening tonight, those who are looking to start a business, or even better yet, those who are looking for a job? They might want to see if they qualify to be a guard with you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're always looking for good people. If you want to reach me, you can reach me on Facebook, Kevin Melvin. You'll see our Lockdown logo on my profile picture. Or you could reach me, you can see a resume to my email, lockdownbuffalo@gmail.com. That's lockdownbuffalo@gmail.com. And I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. We also post job openings on Indeed. So check Indeed, you'll see us on there, and any openings that we do have.
Mm-hmm. And I tell you straight up, especially those who are interested in being a guard, you can't do any worse at all if you want to be considered by this company, by this agency, because it starts at the leader, very professional, good training that you could take for the rest of your life. So I strongly encourage you to reach out if you're looking for a job or opportunity and you think you're eligible, reach out to Kevin Melvin and Lockdown Security. So that's the end of our show tonight. We'd like to thank our guest, Kevin Melvin with Lockdown Security. Thank you, Kevin, again. If you like more information about our Heritage Corridor, we always encourage you to visit us online at www.michiganstreetbuffalo.org or call our office at 716-322-1002. So that's our show for tonight. Looking forward to seeing you all next week. Have a great night and a great weekend. I think we might have, because we started a little late, but I think we're right on time.
Yeah, I think we hit it right on there.
Yeah.
I think you got it.
He didn't come rushing like Central. I'll be like, you know. That was good. Thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. No, definitely.
No, but we need to